In this lecture, we'll create a collision particle system effect when the rock collides with any object. Let's get started. We can actually set this up with a relatively simple particle system, but we're going to do things a little bit different this time. Let's hop into our rock prefab itself and actually just drag one into our scene so we can see it. So let's hop into our falling obstacles, and then I'm just going to actually just drag this entire rock in and just situate it roughly in front of our player just so we can actually kind of see what this looks like on our main camera. I think it would be really cool if every single time our rock collides with really anything in our scene, but mainly the bridge, a rock mesh particle system actually is instantiated, or more specifically, I should say fires. I don't think we're going to be actually instantiating each one. Just plays at the collision point of the rock. So let's go ahead and actually get this particle system rigged up first, and then we'll actually fire it off through code. So on the prefab itself, so we don't actually have to instantiate it each time, let's create our own particle system. So let's right click, find effects, and particle system, and we'll just child this to the rock prefab directly. Let's call this the collision particle system. And immediately we're going to do something a little bit different. So let's actually scroll down all the way to the renderer. And the very first drop down, I believe, is render mode, and we're actually going to change this to mesh. With this drop down selected, we can actually choose a mesh for our particle system. So let's actually just go ahead and click this little search field here and manually search for rock. Now you could actually use the mossy rock, which is actually the mesh that we're using for the rock itself. In my case, I'm just going to actually use this other rock mesh that we have. So let's go ahead and select this second one here. Instead of the material particles unlit, let's actually just go ahead and click that one more time. And I'm going to manually search for castle. And if you were to click any of these castle materials, it's going to make sure that the rock material is actually just this nice gray. So let's just go ahead and select any of those here. And there you go. We actually have each individual particle as its own mesh. The only other thing I want to change in the renderer module is scrolling down to cast shadows, and I'm going to toggle that on. I do think that will give just kind of a nice cool effect to really add to the immersion of our game. And this particle system is really not actually too complicated. We can actually just scroll up to the shape module. Let's change it from cone to sphere to make sure each particle is just kind of going off in every direction. And let's just tweak a few more settings. Now, first and foremost, it's just way too big. So let's actually scroll up to the very top module and let's change our start size. Let's actually randomize this between two constants. I think something like 0.1 to 0.2 about that shape will be about right. We could even maybe do a little bit more drastic. Let's do 0.1 to 0.25, somewhere around here. Now, it doesn't really matter actually the duration or if it's looping, but let's actually just change this duration to 2 and then just fire off a burst at the start of the particle system. We only really want this entire particle system to fire once per collision, so let's scroll down to the emission module. And instead of firing off an amount of particles per second, let's actually just delete that entirely. So 0, and then let's actually fire a single burst. So underneath bursts, hit the little plus mark. And just at the very beginning, so making sure this time is set to 0.00, let's actually just fire off 30 particles. So I think this looks pretty reasonable here. We only have one cycle, so the interval doesn't really matter. I think we could actually change this to 0.00 though, just to make sure it's actually at the beginning. Oh, there you go. It actually looks like it's making sure it's at 0.01 is the minimum that I can do, and then keeping the probability at 1 to make sure that it always fires off. And I think the speed on each individual particle is probably about right, but the lifetime is far too long. So let's change our lifetime to another random between two constants, and we can actually change this lifetime to something like, less than a second. So probably something like 0.4 to 0.6, 0.7. Yeah, somewhere around there I think looks pretty good. And even though this speed is about right, let's actually just give it a little bit more variety on the speed. So once again, a random between two floats, and let's change this to, let's say, 4 to 6. And I really think that's all we need. We could probably modify a few other things. I think a little bit of rotation probably over a lifetime would be nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's actually just change this to an angular velocity of another random between two constants so I don't have to click the curves. And let's just do something like negative 360 to 360. Let's actually see each individual particle spinning. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks quite nice. I think that's enough for now, but what I'd like to do is instead of actually playing this particle system at the center point of the rock, I think it'd be cool if it actually fired at the collision point. So in other words, if a collision hit over here on the right side, we can actually just shift this particle system over, and we can actually fire it on that side at the collision contact point. So let's actually go rig that up through code. Before we hop in, let's just toggle off a few more of these settings. The duration doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter actually that it's looping or not, but we can actually just turn that off. And we just want to make sure it's not playing on awake. So let's go ahead and toggle off play on awake. Let's make sure we apply this to the prefab, and we can go ahead and delete this from our hierarchy. Let's go ahead and open up our rock script in VS Code. Let's start out by grabbing a reference to that particle system. So particle system, and I'll just call this my collision particle system. We just want to fire this off every single time our rock collides with something at the moment. So let's start out with a little bit of refactoring. We can actually just pull all of this impulse source related logic out. So highlighting all of it and extract method. Let's go ahead and call it something like fire impulse. I think something like that makes sense. And let's go ahead and create one more function that we can fire just to keep things nice and separated. Let's call it void collision fx. On this method, however, we actually are going to need to pass through this collision type. So let's go ahead and actually just pass through a collision, and we can just go ahead and keep the naming convention the same. We can just go ahead and call that other. And let's go ahead and fire off that method in on collision enter. We'll just go ahead and fire collision fx and pass through the collision itself. The reason we're passing through this collision is because we actually need the collision point of where it's actually colliding with other game objects. And that's really actually not too difficult. There's a type related inside of collision called a contact point. This is just another built-in Unity type. So let's grab that contact point and we'll just call it contact point. And we can set contact point equal to other.contacts. Now contacts is actually, as you can see here, it's going to return an array of contact points. Well, in our case, we only really need that very first initial contact point. So we just want to actually grab that by going into that array and just going into the first most element in that array. So contacts, open bracket, 0, close bracket. Now that we have that exact contact point, we can actually go into our collision particle system and actually just move it to where that contact point is. So we need to actually set a vector 3 equal to another vector 3. So we can actually go into collision particle system .transform .position. That's going to give us a vector 3. And we can set that equal to contact point .point, which is going to return the vector 3 or the position in world space of the contact point. So with just these two lines of code, we've actually moved our particle system to the exact contact point vector 3 in world space. All we need to do is now just actually fire that particle system. So collision particle system dot play, open close parentheses. And I think that's all we need. Let's go actually see what that looks like back in Unity. It always feels like I'm forgetting something when I mess with particles. So fingers crossed. Let's see if it's working properly. Let's look off into the distance. And yep, I am forgetting something. I'm just forgetting to set the reference. Navigate into falling obstacles, and in our rock, we just need to actually set this particle system reference. So let's find our rock class and just drag in this collision particle system. All right, let's try that one more time. Looking off into the distance, and cool. Yeah, there you go. We actually have each individual particle system. I knew I forgot something. We have each individual particle system following the rock. So go ahead, a little bit of a mini challenge. What did we forget? On our collision particle system, everything is being fired and kind of like it's parented to this rock directly. We actually just need to, at the very topmost module, change simulation space from local, so it's not following its parent, to world space. There we go. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. Now we should actually see when the collision particle system is firing, it just stays in place relative to world space. And there you go. Our collision VFX is set. And I think that actually adds a lot of weight and oomph to each individual time the rock hits. Well, let's actually take this one step further and fire off our audio effect that we actually have in our project. In the assets folder, in imported assets, we actually have an audio folder, and we just have this single audio file. You can actually just play this directly by hitting the play button. There you go. Just kind of a cool boulder smash sort of effect that I made in Audacity. Nothing too fancy. On our rock directly, let's actually just add that as an audio source, and all we really need to do is just play that audio source every single time that collision effect happens. So let's go ahead and add an audio source component, and on our audio resource field, let's just go ahead and assign this boulder. For the sake of the recording, I'm actually just going to go ahead and turn that down to something like 0.4. Yours might be okay around 1, but go ahead and test things as needed relative to your audio. All we need to do is now actually just play this audio. But you can probably see what's coming. I think the audio is going to play a little bit too often. Let's go ahead and see what that sounds like. Let's grab a reference to that audio source. So serialize field, audio source. We can just call this boulder smash audio source. And all we need to actually do is just play that off. So right here at the very bottom, after we play our particle system, we can actually just play that audio source. So boulder smash audio source dot play. Let's hop back into Unity and see what that sounds like. Let's just make sure that on our rock audio source component, let's go ahead and toggle off play on awake and then just assign that reference. So right here at the very top on our rock class, I'm just going to collapse all of these other components and assign our audio source. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that sounds like. Hopefully it's not playing too often. Yeah. There you go, very cool. So now we actually have an audio source and a particle VFX system. However, I do think if we had too many rocks in the scene all at once, it is playing a little bit too often. But it doesn't actually sound half bad. That'll introduce you to this lecture's challenge. Create a cooldown timer so that our rock only triggers both the audio SFX and our collision VFX particle system a maximum of every 1 second. We've created a couple different cooldown timers throughout the course of this project, so I think this is a great opportunity to flex your game dev muscles and see if you can create something like this on your own. Go ahead, pause the video, I'll see you back here in a few moments and we'll go through my solution together. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and open back up our rock class. And here at the very top, let's create a serialized field for a float that we can call something like collision cooldown would make sense. And we can set that equal to 1 second. And below here, we just need another float that we can actually keep track of our time. So we can create another float and we can call this our collision timer. We'll just initialize it at 0 and just increase that timer in update. So let's create an update method and we'll just grab collision timer plus equals time.delta time. We can just go ahead and in our onCollisionEnter method, just do a simple if condition. So if collision timer is less than our collision cooldown, well, then let's just go ahead and return and not fire off our SFX and our VFX. We just need to make sure that after we fire these two methods, if this if condition is reached, we can just set our collision timer back to 0. We should now actually have our effects only firing off a maximum of every 1 second. Let's go ahead and try that out back in Unity. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can keep track of how often this is firing, especially if it's just kind of rolling throughout the level. Yeah, there you go. I think that actually looks quite nice. Now, I did notice the very first one didn't fire if the rock is actually dropping from not high up enough. So I do think we could actually tune and tweak things as we go. We'll probably tune and tweak and balance the game a little bit later on towards the very end of this section. But for now, you know what? That looks and sounds great in my opinion. I think I'm satisfied and ready to move on. When you're ready to move on to the next lecture, I'll see you there.